With a length of 178 kilometers, multiple cities, and a long and eventful history, the Upper Silesian Interurban is one of the largest and most interesting tram systems in the world. Let's check it out. The first ever tram in Upper Silesia was launched in 1894 as a steam tram line between Niemiecki and Bytom. Not much later, the section between Zabrze and Katowice followed, and within the same year, both sections were connected, forming a route of over 34 kilometers. It used a very narrow 785mm gauge. In the next 4 years, the network grew fast, and the system now also reached Chorzów and Katowice. Electrification of the network occurred in 1898, along with yet again a lot of expansions. A second company started building tram sections too, although very quickly a managing company was formed to coordinate the overall network. When the 20th century came around, the overall network was over 123 kilometers long. Besides further expansions in the resource-rich mining region, the network was starting to be reconstructed into standard gauge, and busier sections received a double track. This went on up until the First World War, but from 1922 the network was split in two. This was the case as the network was now in two separate countries, Poland and Germany. Both countries kept developing the network, where the Polish side focused on rebuilding the network into standard gauge, and the German side expanded it further. The split of the network saw also fragmentation in the operations, with again various companies operating their sections. With the outbreak of World War II, Upper Silesia was occupied by Germany again, and during the war, the Polish part of the network was brought under one operator. The Germans only changed some sections into standard gauge. During their retreat, they destroyed a key bridge for the network over the Brynica River. After the war ended, the consolidation occurred, bringing the various companies in one company. Transport was managed by the military for around 3 years. After that, it was brought under the Provincial Communications Company. In the years after the war, the network saw its last sections of narrow gauge replaced, and in the 1950s there was a true expansion spree. The expansion slowed down in the 1960s and 1970s. As a now familiar trend, also the Upper Silesian network went into a decline in the 1970s. The poor technical state and service provided caused buses to be favored. After the collapse of communism, the network saw new investment, which focused on the Katowice to Bytom route. This was also the introduction of the Alstom Citadis 116 ND, which was built in Chorzów. This occurred after Alstom took over Konstal. The introduction, however, took longer, due to financial issues caused by the restructuring of provincial governments. The 2000s brought yet another period of decline. Many lines were closed due to pro-bus and pro-car policies, leading to a poor state of infrastructure and unprofitability. This period is also the reason that trams no longer run to Katowice, which is one of the largest cities in the region. From the 2010s on to today, the system is coming back to life, with many investments in modernization of existing trams, new trams, and reconstruction of the infrastructure. The system seems to be back on the right track. Even one of the closed sections was reactivated in this period. In the last 2 years, the first new tram lines were opened, after a break of around 40 years, which brings us to the network of today. This is the massive Upper Silesian Interurban tram network. It is around 172 kilometers long. The system uses a standard gauge at 1435mm. Trams are powered by 660 volts DC overhead wires, and there are 4 depots across the network. There is also one maintenance center, ZUR, in Chorzów. Let's now take a look at the lines. We start with line 1, between Gliwice Zajezdnia and Zabrze Pętla. Followed by line 2, between Gliwice Zajezdnia and Bytom Plac Sikorskiego. Line 3, Mykolcice Pętla to Makoszowie Pętla. Line 4, Gliwice Zajezdnia to Zabrze Pętla. Line 5, Bytom Plac Sikorskiego to Zabrze Pętla. Followed by line 6, Bytom Szkoła Medyczna to Brynów Centrum Przysiadkowe. Line 7 Bytom Plac Sikorskiego to Zabrze Centrum Przysiadkowe. Line 9 Bytom Plac Sikorskiego to Chorzów Rynek. Moving on to line 11, Zabrze Pendla to Katowice Plac Miarki. Line 13, Siemianowice Plac Skargi to Katowice Plac Wolności. Line 14, Brynów Centrum Przysiadkowe to Mysłowice Dworzec PKP. Line 15, Katowice Plac Wolności to Zabrze Rondo Jana Pawła II. Line 16, Wernowiec Plac Alfreda to Brynów Centrum Przysiadkowe. Line 17, Zabrze Pendla to Chorzów Rynek. Line 19, Strożek Zajezdnia to Katowice Plac Wolności. Line 20, Chorzów Rynek to Szopienice Pendla. Line 21, Milowice Pendla to Tworzeń Huta Katowice. Followed by line 22, Czelać Dworzec to Tworzeń Huta Katowice. Line 24, Sosnowiec Dworzec PKP to Konstantynów Ogrzej. Line 25, Chorzów Stadion Śląski to Szopienice Pendla. Line 26, Milowice Pendla to Mysłowice Dworzec PKP. Line 27, Osiedle Zamkowe Pendla to Kazimierz Górniczy Pendla. Line 28, Osiedle Zamkowe Pendla to Tworzeń Huta Katowice. Line 30, Biskupice Pendla to Bytom Plac Sikorskiego. This line runs very infrequently, with around 1 tram per hour from Monday to Friday. Line 33, Park Śląski Wejście Główne to Kossuth Słoneczna Pendla. Line 36, Brynów Centrum Przysiadkowe to Zabrze Centrum Przysiadkowe. And finally, the very short line 38, Bytom Plac Sikorskiego to Bytom Powstańców Śląskich. I hope these lines gave you a bit of an overview, although there is a lot of change ongoing at the moment. This is because of all the reconstruction works that are ongoing. I do not expect all these lines to be the same over the next couple of years. Even when I was filming here, it changed a lot. This was because in the heart of Katowice there were a lot of construction works. The last thing I want to show you of this network is the amount of single track sections, which is quite a lot. The tram lines across the network run in various frequencies. The lines on the single track sections mostly run on 20-minute or 30-minute frequencies. On other sections there is typically a lot of interlining, meaning frequencies are quite a bit higher. However, individual lines mostly have frequencies that are not higher than every 15 minutes. This video about the Upper Silesian tram system is part of an already 41 episode long series of videos of transport systems. I would love to show you many more in the future. Therefore it would be really helpful if you like my video and subscribe to my channel. Let's now take a look at the fleet. For such a massive and diverse tram system, it makes sense that the fleet consists of various types, suitable for each line. Very interesting is that a lot of trams were built locally by the tram manufacturer Konstal, which is located in Katowice. Nowadays, Konstal is owned by Alstom. The oldest type in the fleet is the bi-directional Konstal N, a tram type delivered between 1949 and 1951. Two Konstal Ns are still active in passenger service, after extensive modernization in 2001 and 2002. They are, according to the latest records, still active on the short line 38 in Bytom. The next type in the fleet is the unidirectional 105N of Konstal. There's only one original 105N active, while many different modernized, customized, upgraded versions of this mass-produced type are part of this fleet. The sole Konstal 105N was delivered in 1975. The first such subtype is 105NA. Some of the 45 trams of this subtype were originally delivered as 105N, but were rebuilt, while others were originally built as 105NA. They were delivered between 1974 and 1992. The next subtype is the 105N2K. This is a rebuilt type of the 105NA, with deliveries between 2000 and 2014. There are 31 105N2Ks in total. Another rebuild is the Konstal 105N HF11AC, also rebranded as the Moderus Alpha. This rebuild was done by Moderus. 45 Moderus Alpha 105N HF11ACs are part of the fleet and were redelivered between 2012 and 2013. Very similar to the 105N HF11ACs are the 105NFS, which are only 5 cm wider, and the rebuild was done by ZUR in Katowice. There are 30 105NFSs, which were delivered between 2012 and 2014. And the final version of the Konstal 105N is the Konstal 111N. This is the only subtype with doors on both sides. Similar to the Evo 1/O's in Olo modes, they can be coupled to form a bidirectional tram. The 6 111Ns were delivered in 1993. The next type from the Konstal factory is the 116ND, which was delivered by Alstom in 2001, after the takeover of Konstal. The 116ND is seen as the first members of Alstom's Citadis family. This unidirectional tram consists of 3 sections. There are 17 116NDs in Upper Silesia. In 2011 and 2012, 2 E1 trams from Vienna were delivered, but they have been abandoned since 2021. They were manufactured in the early 1970s by SGP and Lohner. More second-hand trams came from Frankfurt am Main. Between 2010 and 2012, the bidirectional PTA joined the fleet. The PTAs were originally built by DUAC and received a modernization by the local ZUR before entering service. There are 5 PTAs active in Upper Silesia. Somewhat later, in 2016, another second-hand tram from Frankfurt joined the fleet. This type, the PTM, is one-directional and was also built by DUAC and modernized by ZUR. For this tram type, the rebuild meant it received a low-floor middle section. There are 10 PTMs in the fleet. The next type in the fleet are the 2012N and 2012N10 from Pesa, which are part of Pesa's Twist family. These trams consist of 3 sections, and a total of 38 trams have been delivered. They were delivered in 2 batches, with the first batch being delivered between 2013 and 2014. These are marked as 2012N. The second batch, 2012N-10, was delivered between 2020 and 2021. In 2015, a bidirectional version of the Moderus Beta, MF16BD, joined the fleet. 12 trams of this type were added. They have a low-floor middle section, as part of the 3 sections in total. Then, in 2020, 13 short, unidirectional trams of the type Moderus Beta MF10AC were delivered. The interesting fact about these trams is that their appearance is more similar to the Moderus Gamma type. This tram has also a bidirectional version, of which 3 trams have been delivered. This type is designated as Moderus Beta MF11AC-BD. They were delivered in 2020 and 2021. The final type that has been delivered in Upper Silesia is the 2017 N of Pesa, which is also part of the Twist family. It is shorter than the 2012 N, with a shorter middle section. It also has a slightly different appearance as well. So what will the future bring? This network is currently undergoing a massive modernization project, where lots of sections are being renewed. Recent renewals took place at the section from Bytom to Zabrze, which is looking amazing today. Also, the section to Katowice PKP is completely out of service for similar reasons. It is good to see this investment in the tram system, although the renewal was long overdue. As for now, for the new sections, there are indeed plans for new sections, but after the recent extensions to Zabrze roundabout John Paul II and the short track between Don Huta by Don to Katowice Dąbrówki, it is more likely that the focus will stay for a while on the renewal of the system. Regarding the tram fleet, there are plans to buy up to 65 new trams. 10 of these should be 13.5 meter long bidirectional units, much like the Moderus Beta MF11AC-BDs. The other part of this plan are up to 55 22 to 25 meter trams, which are both uni and bidirectional. This larger order would be split into several options, with a first call-off being just 10 trams. However, both orders seem to be stuck for now, as the sole bidders for both orders, Moderus for the 13.5 meter trams and Pesa for the 22 to 25 meter trams, failed to meet the most important criterion: price. And that's it for the Upper Silesian tram system. Click here for my video about the nearby tram system of Częstochowa. As always, thank you for watching.